So here we are, Bill, at the Robert H. Jackson Center. And you're sitting in a chair which has some significance. Tell the story.
Well, I have to stop and think, but it was after the Second World War, and my father, who was a good friend of Justice Jackson, stopped in when we were on a trip to Washington, D.C., and met with the Justice. And while I was in the office, Justice Jackson said to me, "Do you want to go see the courtroom?" And of course, I was about 11 or 12 at the time. And we walked into the courtroom. It wasn't in session. And then he said, "How would you like to sit in my chair up there?" And I said, "Sure." And with that, I went up to the bench and in his company and sat in his chair and looked over the entire Supreme Court chambers. With that, I've always remembered it as an event that made an impression upon me at the time. So basically, that's where it was.
What was the circumstances?
Other than the fact my father would go to Washington on business and go there in a family, my sister and my mother. And we just happened to go, and he said, "Let's go visit Justice Jackson." So actually, if I remember too, and I was also, one of the things is that the Supreme Court clerk, if I'm not mistaken, came from Dunkirk or Western New York.
George Niebank.
No, that's not the same name. Now, the one I know was a fellow by the name of William Cullen. Okay. Whether he was chief clerk, whether it was, but he was also there, and he happened to know my father too. Okay. They grew up together, so that was another reason why I'm assuming that we must have gone there to the Supreme Court.
Now, what did your dad and Jackson have in common?
I always say there were only two Democratic lawyers in Chautauqua County at the time. There might have been another one, but those are the only two I ever remember at the time. So.
Now, did your dad ever talk about his first acquaintance with Jackson, or how that may have?
I got to tell you, I really don't remember anything specific about it, as I say, other than the fact that he was from Dunkirk. I mean, from West Chautauqua County, and he knew him, and so beyond that, I really don't know what other relationships he had.
So here we have one of the preeminent lawyers in Chautauqua County today, Bill Foley, coming back home to sitting in the chair of Justice Jackson of Western New York. I mean, this is
just feels like
symmetry, isn't it?
Yeah, really.
50 years.
Years, right, exactly. That many years. Well, it's very interesting. I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to look at it.